In the small, forgotten town of Black Hollow, nestled deep within a forest that seemed to breathe with a life of its own, there lived a girl named Eliza. She was a quiet child, with wide, curious eyes that always seemed to be searching for something just beyond the edge of her vision. Her parents had long since passed away, leaving her in the care of her elderly grandmother, who spent her days muttering prayers to ward off the evil that lurked in the shadows. Eliza's grandmother had always warned her about the woods. "Never go into the forest after dark," she would say, her voice trembling with fear. "The shadows are alive, and they hunger for the blood of the innocent." But Eliza, being a curious child, could not resist the pull of the unknown. One fateful night, as the moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the town, Eliza slipped out of her bed and into the forest. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, and the trees seemed to close in around her as she ventured deeper into the darkness. As she walked, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, like the rustling of leaves in the wind, but soon they grew louder, more insistent. They called her name over and over in voices that were both familiar and alien. Eliza's heart pounded in her chest, but she could not turn back. The whispers were leading her somewhere, and she had to know where. Finally, she reached a clearing bathed in the pale light of the moon. In the center of the clearing stood a figure, tall and grotesque, its body twisted and malformed. Its skin was a sickly grey, stretched taut over bones that seemed too large for its frame. Its eyes were black pits, devoid of any light, and its mouth was a gaping maw filled with rows of jagged, blood-stained teeth. Eliza froze, her breath caught in her throat. The creature turned its head slowly, its eyes locking onto hers. It smiled, a horrifying, predatory grin that sent shivers down her spine. "Eliza!" it hissed, its voice a guttural growl that seemed to come from the very depths of the earth. "You've come to me at last." Eliza tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her legs felt like lead, rooted to the spot as the creature began to move towards her, its long clawed fingers twitching with anticipation. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, as the creature closed the distance between them. Eliza could feel its breath hot and rancid on her face as it leaned in close, its teeth glinting in the moonlight. "You are mine," it snarled, and with a swift, brutal motion it lunged at her, its claws tearing through her flesh like paper. Blood sprayed into the air, painting the ground in crimson as Eliza's screams echoed through the forest. The creature feasted on her, its teeth ripping into her flesh, its claws digging deep into her body. Eliza's world became a blur of pain and terror, her vision fading as the life drained from her body. But even as she died, the whispers continued, growing louder and more insistent, until they filled her mind completely. And as the creature finished its meal, Eliza's body began to twitch, her lifeless eyes flickering with a dark, malevolent light. She rose to her feet, her movements jerky and unnatural, her body now a vessel for the creature that had claimed her. The whispers had won, and Eliza was no more. The creature, now wearing Eliza's skin, smiled as it turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind only the blood-soaked ground and the faint echo of whispers in the wind. And so the legend of the Whispering Shadows grew, a tale of horror and blood that would haunt the town of Black Hollow for generations to come.